I think we are live. Honestly, I Facebook gives me no warning whatsoever. Hey, good morning. Love sales, hate selling. Facebook followers, watchers, lurkers, people who are just tuning in to see the wonderful Esther Coles. Good morning, Esther.
Good morning.
Esther, you had me worried for a minute. I thought, oh no, she's running late. Oh gosh, it's a woman's prerogative to get there just on time. So you know,
I was hoovering.
I must say, you're looking very dapper today. Are you off out nice somewhere?
No, just for this, I've just put makeup on. I haven't worn makeup for weeks, so I thought I'd put some on.
Oh, I'm honoured. I'll tell you what, if I'd have known, I'd put some makeup on myself. Right, boom. Before we start, Esther, we have to do a pose for the YouTube from now. So after 3, I want you to give me your best pose for the camera. So
go on then.
1, 2, 3. Oh wow! That's a cool. I tell you what, that's a really good pose. So I take it you've done some kind of modelling in the past, then.
As if, yeah.
Oh, that was a really good pose. I'll tell you what, I'll send you that. That was really good. Right then, Esther, let's dive in. I know you're a busy lady. So could you tell the people watching what you do for a business?
So my business is Skylark First Aid. I provide first aid training for other local companies, small businesses, lots of sports clubs, because my background is sport and leisure and fitness and health. I work for the RFU as well. I'm one of their first aid educators, so I go round to all the rugby clubs in the Midlands delivering the RFU's first aid as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I really enjoy doing that. I like to work with local businesses and particularly women's businesses, not exclusively, but my marketing, my branding is aimed at women to try and make first aid a little bit more accessible, a little bit more fluffy, if you like, not so clinical, not so medical, not so embarrassing. So I don't include any role plays or daft scenarios or dragging people out the front of the room to make an idiot of themselves. I don't do any of that. It's all very much, we learn what we need to learn, but with a cup of tea in our hands. You know what I mean? And I think people learn more, they take more in if they're relaxed when they're training. If they feel at ease and they're in their own environment, because I go to people's venues, then they're going to take more in and be likely to remember it if they ever need to use it. So that's what I'm all about.
Oh, it's got a bit of feedback there. Oh, it's gone now. Oh, that's fantastic. How did the RFU come about? I mean, you know, are you a rugby fan? I mean,
yeah.
Right.
So I'm heavily involved with Dudley Kings Winford Rugby Club. My husband plays, well, he used to play, he doesn't play anymore. He used to play for them, but he's now coaches one of the youth teams. My son plays for one of the youth teams, and my voluntary role is I'm their first aid and rugby safe officer. So I'm part of the youth committee, and I go down and help anything regarding first aid, so I organise all the first aiders for the youth sides, and I just got involved through that really. Got approached by the RFU and trained to be one of their first aid educators, so I love doing that.
That's fantastic. So you're a bit of a celeb then, I suppose. You know, RFU, that's like a big organisation. It's like,
they are.
And do you make sure that people are aware of that when you're kind of doing your marketing?
I try to. I'm not allowed to use the England rugby logo, which is difficult. So I do ponce about in my England rugby clothing that I get given.
Ooh, I tell you what. Hey guys, she's a bit of a celeb, this one. You want to, you know, make sure you connect to her later on, and like, you know, in a slipstream. So you mentioned that you were sports, healthcare. What inspired you to do a first aid training business?
So my background is leisure and sport. I'm not anymore, but I used to be a trampoline coach. I've been a swimming teacher. I'm a qualified swimming teacher, which I do still do occasionally. I worked mainly as a fitness instructor, as an aerobics instructor, a personal trainer. And then I moved into managing fitness. So I worked for a local authority near here for their leisure department, and I managed all the fitness classes at all of their leisure centres. So at one point, it was over 100 classes a week with 50 odd instructors at 9 leisure centres, and that was my baby. So that's been my background, sport and leisure and fitness. And then I went to work for the NHS, and I managed a programme that specifically was set up. It's an exercise rehabilitation programme for people who'd had heart and lung conditions. So it was more specialised exercise, like we get referrals from GPs and the hospitals. So I really enjoyed doing that. So I've always had a high level of first aid training myself.
Gotcha.
But equally, I've always hated first aid courses. Because I'm not being stereotypical, but
go on, girl, do it.
Say I'm going to anyway. There's always been some guy teaching the course who's probably ex-police or ex-military and seems to revel in dragging people out the front to act and make an idiot of themselves. And I literally used to crawl up my own backside because it was so embarrassing. And I hated it. I absolutely hated it.
Oh, when you said that, I had this vision flash into my mind of someone who looked like Borat with shorts, you know, all the way up their legs, hairy legs, saying, "Right, who wants to have the kiss of life?"
I know. It's not appropriate in this day and age.
Yeah.
And because also I'm an adult education tutor, so I used to work in my spare time of an evening and on a weekend. I used to work for several local colleges, and I used to deliver aerobics instructor courses and gym instructor courses. So I used to teach people to be aerobics and fitness instructors. So when I decided to leave the NHS, I thought, right, I want to work for myself. I don't want to work for anybody else anymore. What can I do? And I decided that I wanted to fill this gap that I could see in the first aid market. And because I was already an adult education tutor, I then just trained as a first aid instructor and then started my business 6 years ago.
Boom.
So there we are.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
Is history.
That's fantastic. I mean, wow, you've got so many corners and curves. And I suppose if you was to look at your journey to where you are now, like a tree, all these different branches that have gone off and kind of joined back together. And it's fantastic. Wow. Okay. So just you said you was a swimming instructor as well.
I still am occasionally. One of my friends owns a swim school, so if she's got a member of staff off sick or on holiday, I'll go and do a couple of hours swimming teaching with children. I love it. I absolutely love it.
You're super fit, man. So how far can you swim? I mean, can you like do a couple of miles?
Yeah, the furthest I ever swum was 5 kilometres.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's about 3 and a bit miles, isn't it? But that was a long time ago. I love swimming, but I don't do it myself enough.
I do like swimming. I like swimming in like a swimming pool rather than the sea. The sea's
too
salty.
Oh, I hate the sea. I couldn't swim in the sea.
Like 5 kilometres could be. I think I can do like maybe 2 lengths, and then I'm all tired.
This was 200 lengths at the time.
Oh my god! Right, okay. So with the business, obviously you've had to overcome many challenges, I would imagine. Tell us about some of the challenges that you have had to overcome to kind of move forward with the business.
One of my biggest challenges is the existing national first aid companies, of which the most famous that everybody knows is St John Ambulance.
I know them.
And they are a challenge because they corner the market, and it's not fair because they don't offer regulated qualifications. So if your insurance stipulates that you need a regulated qualification that sits on the National Qualifications Framework and is regulated by Ofqual, which is the government department for regulating qualifications, St John aren't, and people don't realise this.
But this is where someone like yourself educates the market as to
Yes.
why that is important.
Yes.
Because that's the first time I've heard of that. I thought first aid training was first aid training was first aid training.
Yeah.
Now you're saying to me, oh, there's these different. If you haven't been trained to this level, then you ain't that qualified, really. You're not that.
Well, I don't want to mislead people. Of course, if you do an emergency first aid at work, which is the 1-day course with me, if you do it with St John, it's exactly the same course. The content is the same. And the HSE, which is the Health and Safety Executive, accepts St John qualifications. That's absolutely fine. So I'm not saying you can't do them. And if you do one of their courses, I'm not saying you won't be qualified. You will. It's just the regulation. It's the regulated status, whether you need that or not.
Got you.
So St John is so famous and so historical that everybody thinks that they are the be all and end all, and they're not. There is a choice. And I get really annoyed when companies say to me, when I approach them to see if they want to work with me, when they say, oh, we have to do St John. It's the biggest load of rubbish I've ever heard in my life. And
controversy. Yes.
I feel like banging my head.
I think, you know, okay, I suppose it's like you bringing out Esther Cole's cola and trying to go up against Coca-Cola. They're, you know, a big fat smelly old brand. You know, you're never going to be able to take them on head on. But most certainly where they're big and cumbersome, you are small and agile, which means that you can, and this is what I mean, if you educate people as to, okay, you know, yes, you can use them, you can use me, these are the regulations that need to be stipulated, ensure as a company that these are what you're getting, and that's all you need to do. You don't need to talk about them or anything else. But what you're allowing people to do then is to do that comparison of, okay, this company offering this, but these guys offer this, which is linked to this government body. Oh, okay. It's quite strange actually that they're able to offer the first aid training without being part of that regulatory.
They just use their name is enough.
Well, it's a big fat smelly brand,
which is fine, and it's true. It's great. You know, that's absolutely fine. But you see, with them, they charge about quadruple my charges.
Yeah. You heard that, people? If you have a business and you need some first aid training, if you want to save some money this year, there's no
honestly
else that you can go.
I was doing a quote yesterday for somebody, and she asked me for a first aid at work course, which is the 3-day big course. And I just thought, oh, I wonder. And I looked at St John, and for one person to go on, and you've got to go to their venue at their stipulated time, it's £378. Now, I come to your venue at a time to suit you. I'd come in the middle of the night if you wanted me to. And if I had a full course of 12 people, which is the maximum I'm allowed to have, I would be charging £128 a person, as opposed to their 378, and I still make a decent profit on that.
But that also tells me that there might be a little bit of a price increase that you could implement and still be competitive.
I think at the minute I'm a fair price, considering I'm flexible with my times. I can break courses up into chunks as well, so we can do a bit here, a bit there to fit in with people's working daily life, and that's what the bigger companies can't do. They can't be as flexible as me.
You're small, you're agile, you can move quickly, you can adapt, and that's a good thing. And those are the points to get across to these organisations who are just going down the same old boring old route. You know, there is an alternative. We've had a few comments coming. Let me see what people are saying. Hey, Natasha Gordon, how you doing? Hi, Maria. They're having a private conversation between themselves. Hey, Natasha, I did not forget about you. I still have to reach out to you. It's all right. Just use my video to talk to you. It's fine.
At least they're there.
Hey, at least you're communicating. That's all nice. Right. My favourite question.
Oh, okay.
Esther, you've told us so much about you. But I want you to tell us one thing about you that not many people know. Nothing that's going to, like, you know, cause any fractions at home.
Get me arrested.
Or get you arrested.
Yeah.
Go on.
I don't. Oh, it's hard, really, isn't it? I've got lots of pet reptiles. I'm a bit of a reptile fan.
Oh, what's the scariest one that you've got?
Oh, they're not scary. They're. I've got a pet tortoise
Okay,
who's,
that's.
and really, she's about 100 years old. She's really old.
I've got a turtle.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's growing at an alarming rate of.
Yeah.
Basically, we had two and one died.
Oh.
And then since the other one died, the other one's gone, hey, she's my domain. And it's actually just, it's got hands as big as me now. I actually reckon on an evening it comes out of the tank and goes and raids the fridge. Seriously. Wet patches across the floor, seriously. Delbert, his name is. Delbert the turtle.
Delbert, oh. My tortoise is called Nosy because she is.
So what other reptiles have you got?
I've got 2 leopard geckos as well. And we've just had a new one, and it's a baby, and
Lizards.
It's absolutely tiny. They're adorable. They're really lovely. And
my
daughter has called it Pickle.
Pickle?
Pickle.
It's a cute name, but I'm just not sure that, you know, I'd like to come face to face with it on a dark night.
Oh, it's only like this big.
But they grow. Have you never seen a Komodo dragon?
No, they're only like that. So yes, I'm a bit of a reptile fan. So that's
okay.
Yeah, I'd have hundreds if my husband had let me, but he'd go bananas. He really would.
He doesn't share your love of reptiles.
He doesn't mind. He puts up with it, but he's not. You know, I'd have a whole menagerie of animals if I could.
Honestly, your use of English. Now I'm gonna drop you in it now, because Esther did a letter recently to the Education Secretary, and quite rightly so. She was questioning why kids of how old, 8, 9.
9, my daughter is, yeah.
We're having to learn words that even I didn't even know what she was talking about. Just give us an example of one of the subjects that you mentioned.
So it was English specifically, after doing all this homeschooling, about the processes and the techniques that children have to learn, such as subordinate clauses, conjunctions.
Subordinate clauses. That's something to do with like getting planning permission.
It's constructing a sentence, basically.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
So why not going to say constructing a sentence?
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And I'm one morning, lost my temper and got on my soapbox and wrote the letter. And
honestly, guys, if you
and then I put it on Facebook.
If you're friends with Esther, or if you're not friends, go and connect with her. Go and read the letter that she sent. It is amazing. There's words in there that you won't understand. And basically, like Esther just said, you know, subordinate clauses means doing a sentence. So instead of saying, I like this, no.
I'm quite sure the Education Secretary doesn't understand half of it.
Well, I think that, you know, all this theory behind actually doing it. Do you teach people how to speak, or do you teach them the process of how to speak?
Yeah.
Anyway, but hey, what do I know? I got 2 C's in English. I've got this far.
Exactly.
And you know, life is good.
Exactly.
So, it's okay, Marie. I don't mind you having a conversation. I'm only joking. And hi, Natalie. Thanks for joining us. So, 6 years running your business.
Yeah.
Highs and lows.
Yeah.
What 3 bits of advice would you give somebody who's crazy enough to want to start a business right now, 2021?
Okay. Not to go into first aid training.
That's competitiveness, that is.
But I wouldn't do it now.
Oh.
I wouldn't. Oh, somebody asked me a while ago, I'm thinking of becoming a first aid instructor. I said, don't. It's compared to 6 years ago, the market is hugely crowded now. And I wouldn't do it if I was starting out now.
I don't know, you know. I think you're missing a bit of a trick. Because if you think about what you've said is the stereotypical first aid training, think of who you are. You are anti-stereotypical in every shape and form. So I actually think that you could carve a niche in the market based on you and what you bring, which is different. Crowded markets are great because it means that the business is wanted. You're all worried if there's only you and one other, because like, well, no one wants this service. but I would actually use your power, because you have got power, to separate yourself from everybody else, and make sure that you stand on who you are, what you stand for, your values, the fact that it's fun, it's informative, you're flexible, it's bespoke, the prices are good. Honestly, I wouldn't even see that as a competition.
Yeah, I think if people have got a niche and they've already got a customer base, then that's fine. But for somebody just generally getting into it, it's difficult.
Yeah.
I think I'd advise people to do their research. I knew absolutely nothing about running a business because I'd always been an employee. I'd worked for the council, a government employee, so I'd worked for the council and the NHS. So I knew nothing about running a business. And thinking back, I can remember spending weeks upon weeks upon weeks sat where I am now at my kitchen table, just doing planning and setting things up and working things out, and I didn't get paid for that.
No.
So I think running a business, you underestimate the amount of time that you don't get paid. I'm only paid when I am actually standing in front of a group of people delivering first aid. That's when the money comes in. But the amount of additional time that I sit at my desk upstairs or here doing admin, finances, yes, I do farm some stuff out, but not a massive amount, because I do actually enjoy doing my finances, which is a bit weird.
I know what you're saying now. I like
but and I don't really earn enough to warrant bringing in an accountant. Anyway, you don't get paid for all that.
No. And this is why one of the things that I say to a lot of people who are self-employed is your minimum hourly rate before you even get out of bed and put your slippers on has to be £50 an hour, because it's not about, oh, well, people won't use me. It's about, well, you've got insurance to pay, you've got traveling expenses, you've got the expenses of running the business, the admin. If you have got an accountant, there's £40 or £50 a month that's going out every single month. So you've got to make sure you're getting paid. And some people will be sitting there going, oh, look at him, he's telling everyone to be expensive. No, I'm not. I'm saying that if you're self-employed, you need to make sure that you are covered, because you won't be working 8 hours a day. You might work 2 hours a day. You might only work 3 hours a week. But then that other 30 odd hours that you're putting into your business, like you say, Esther, it's admin, it's this, it's pushing paper around the desk, it's chasing things up, it's doing, insurance. So £50 an hour, people, as a minimum, if you are running your own business. Don't get me wrong. If you want to be flexible with some customers, you can. It's your business. Do what you like. But, make sure you're earning what you're worth. So I'm sure you gave me 2 tips there.
I think I've got one more. The other one is networking. I didn't start networking until I was 2 years in, I think. And if you look, you will find some lovely local free networking groups. You don't have to pay the BNI, 4N, the Bob clubs, which are great. But you've got to find the network groups that work for you and work for your business. And it wasn't really until I started networking that, I don't just mean business rolled in. It was more of a support mechanism and finding things out. Like this week, you've given me some fantastic advice that I'm going to follow up on regarding my website. Well, I already have. I've started acting on the things.
Hey, does your web developer hate me yet?
No, not yet. I didn't tell him your name.
No. I got a strange email last night. No, I'm joking.
But it's things like that, and that wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't be improving my website and potentially bringing more business in if I hadn't met you at a networking.
Absolutely.
And it, when I think of customers, I think, well, where did they come from? How have they found me? And it goes back and back and back and back and back and back. And you find out, oh, it was somebody I met at networking.
And the key thing there, and I'm gonna do a bit of a sales pitch here, because one of the things, I mean, I brought out a course called Love Sales Hate Selling, the Crash Course, and it is based around you becoming your own funnel. Because if you think about it, you go networking. Now, you're prepared when you go networking. You've got your business name, you've got your website, you've got your end goals, so someone can easily go and check you out and say, oh, it's Esther Cole, she's blah, 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 blah. A lot of people haven't got that. They haven't got that set up. So they go networking, and whereas you've had a good return from it because people have been able to check you out and then say, well, I want you to speak to this. Other people don't sometimes have those online assets set up.
Yeah.
So, if you're set up right, networking can really, really work for you. And like you said, I mean, we met at Alison Cotton's All for One, which I think is a fabulous networking event. And she's been running it now. I can't remember how long she's been, but I love it. It's a great group, and she brings some great people in. And I remember you giving a talk there, and it was like, Esther Coles is amazing. So it's all about opportunity, isn't it? It's all about opportunity.
Yeah.
And
it makes you feel less lonely as well. Working on your own, you're less lonely because you're seeing people and you've got a reason to go out and meet people and get that support mechanism, really.
I think during COVID, this has been a godsend for so many people being able to jump on. And it's been a new thing for a lot of people as well. And it's taken a bit of getting used to. But, it's so cool. Is there anything that the group, the people watching can help you with right now? Or in the future?
Referrals. I get a lot of my business through word of mouth and recommendation. And as I said earlier, I want to help businesses. I can save businesses money. I can save them time. I can save them hassle, because I understand that it's organising first aid is a pain in the arse, and I can help.
Is first aid? Is it mandatory to have a first aid qualified person in your business?
If you've got over 5 members of staff, but that's not set in stone. There are lots of ifs and buts. So if you see members of the public, so if, for example, you were a personal trainer or some kind of coach or a mentor, and you see somebody face-to-face, one-to-one, I would argue that it's important for you to be first aid trained, because what if that person becomes ill while they're with you? They're your responsibility, aren't they?
That would be absolutely terrifying if that happened.
Exactly. So even though by the law, if you're in a premises, so for example, a hair salon, and if the law says if there are more than 5 of you working, you need a first aider. But again, I would argue you've got members of the public in that salon that could have any medical condition known to man. What happens if they become ill while they're with you? So there's always a responsibility for everybody and anybody to do first aid training. And I think it makes people's businesses look better, because you can say, I'm first aid trained, I've got that qualification, you are safe with me.
I've just had a cunning plan formed in my mind. This plan is so cunning, you could pin a tail on it and call it a fox.
Okay, Baldrick.
You see, I love it. I said something similar. Honestly, anyone who knows Blackadder gets that. Tell you what, we're best of friends. We're gonna have a little talk after this. I had a brainwave. People, thank you so much for joining me and Esther today. It's been absolutely blessed to be able to talk to you and find out a lot more about you. God, you've got so many corners. If anyone's got any questions for Esther, Esther's going to go, when we finish, she's going to drop all of her links in the comments. So a link to her website, a link to her first aid courses, anything that to do with her business and her, she's going to drop them in. So if you want to connect with her, please connect with her. If you are in a business and you are worried about the lack of first aid in your business, then speak to your boss man and tell him to get Esther involved. She can come in, she can save you money, she can get you all trained so you can save lives. Which I think is really, really important. So, people, have a fantastic day, and I shall see you all next Tuesday. I can't remember who else. Next Tuesday we have Rohini in the morning being interviewed, and Shabby Reinhardt at 5:30. So I'm doing 2 next Tuesday because Shabby's in Canada. So, oh God, you're so efficient. I'll tell you what. You've dropped it in the wrong one though. You dropped it in this chat. You got to put it in the Facebook. Sorry, I didn't explain that very well. Right, guys,
I'll do that in a bit.
Esther, don't go anywhere, guys. We'll see you later. Take care. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Bye.